Okay, y'all, so I am actually currently in Mobile, Alabama for Mardi Gras, but I wanted to get on here and talk about a situation that's currently happening and a conversation that has spawned from that, because I feel like a lot of words are being lost in translation. I feel like conversations that are really not important are being had, and I feel like I needed a forum to talk freely, to just get all these thoughts out so that the conversation can get triggered on, because of course I had conversations on TikTok and Twitter, and that's just where nuance goes to die. So I wanted to come on my YouTube channel so I can really kind of flesh out my points and the things that I think, so that the conversation can be productive. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, there was a young boy, he was 20 years old. I think his name was Caleb. I don't remember his last name. I'm sorry right now. But he was in the process of joining, I believe, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And within the hazing process, he ended up losing his life. I believe they say he was found unresponsive. They took him to the hospital. He later died in the hospital. Boom. Because of that situation, obviously the conversation of hazing has been happening. So I'm going to talk about it on two different fronts because there's so much that has to be said. I'm going to be addressing people who are in D9 first, and then I'm going to talk to people who are not in D9, because there's two parts to this conversation. And the reason I want to talk to D9 first is because this is an in-house situation and we need to be called in and called out. And as somebody who is a part of a D9 organization, I feel like at some point we got to let go of that discretion and we have to start being honest and being real. Because people dying to join your organization is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And I am not about to sit up here and pretend like that is a known risk or a known situation. Absolutely the fuck not. Something has got to change. So let me address D9 as a whole. I'm talking about from the top to the bottom. Our organizations are founded on scholarship, service, brotherhood, and sisterhood. Full stop. So anything that goes outside of those parameters needs to be called out. And I recognize that there are reasons and there are things that led up to us getting here, such as the pledging process going underground. That is a huge issue, I believe, that has created a lot of unregulated bullshit because pledging has gone underground. And with underground pledging, there are not regulations. There's nobody to hold people accountable. There are a lot of the times grad advisors not being a part of the situation. There's a lot of things that are happening that have never been talked about. People are creating their own rules, creating their own rituals, creating their own process. And that's just out of order. That doesn't make any sense to me. Also with underground pledging, there are no real guidelines because it's not being regulated, like I said. So a lot of times people be online for God knows how long. And I'm not about to sit up here and pretend like that makes sense or that it's okay. That brings me to my next point. The conversation of people being made versus people being paper has caused so much internal bullshit within our community and within our chapters. A lot of members are way too obsessed with what someone's process looked like and not obsessed with what your organization, what your chapter, and what you are doing for your community. Let's get back to the roots. Let's get back to the origin. Let's get back to the purpose. We have completely lost the plot. There have been times where I have met somebody just randomly in the streets. I find out that they're D9 and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, that's what's up. Like, what school did you go to? A cute little intro. And then immediately they want to charge you up. Lame as fuck. And I'm here to tell you that it's lame. It's lame as fuck. You're corny. You're lame. You're a loser. It does not make you anything better than anybody because your process lasted longer, because you got your ass beat harder, because you was near death. It makes you a fool. It makes you a fool. And I think that we have to start putting our foot down and start calling y'all lame a little bit more so that y'all stop thinking that that shit is cool. I think it's really ridiculous. And there's definitely a difference with boys and girls somewhat. Like, I know boys be going hard. I know that. And we want to be obsessed with discretion, but not for the right reasons. And that's the part that blows me. We want to, shout discretion at all times, but not for the shit that matters. We should be discreet about the bylaws, right? We need to be discreet about the traditions, right? The details and the intimacy of our organization. We don't need to be discreet about people knocking y'all head off. The reason that y'all are discreet for things like that is so that y'all don't get in trouble and go to jail. Let's call a spade a spade. Y'all are upholding discretion as if that is going to protect you from any fucking thing. If somebody gets hurt, you deserve to get punished for that. Period. And it doesn't make sense that we've created a culture where it's see no evil, speak no evil. No, that's weird. Y'all have gotten so obsessed with this idea of power that y'all are excited to pledge somebody, excited to haze somebody because you got hazed, instead of figuring out how to uphold the standard and the sanctity of our organizations. All y'all want to do is beat somebody's ass to say you did it. All you want to do is be the most made nigga in the yard. Okay, now what? Now what? Like, I think that it's gotten to a point where it's just ridiculous. We're not even focused on the point of the organization. And I'm watching people comment under my videos, comment on my tweets, and are literally trying to essentially victim blame and make it seem like this young man's death is his fault. Oh, well, we ain't never had nobody die on my line. Okay. How many of y'all couldn't stand up straight? Let me see the bruises on y'all back. How many of y'all broke some bones? How many of y'all got PTS fucking D? Some of y'all got CTE. And I'm not even trying to be funny here. I'm trying to be dead ass. We're trying to make it seem like because nobody died on your line, shit cool. No. I know of a lot of stories. I done seen with my own two eyes some bullshit. So we're not gonna sit up here and pretend like bullshit is not happening all across. It is. And it's not right. That being said, when it comes to our pro fights, when it comes to our executive boards, when it comes to nationals, y'all have also lost the plot. And I'm going to knock on y'all with this as well. Because while I can sit here and hold members accountable and I can let them know that hazing is not right, all of these things, I'm going to look at y'all dead in y'all face and say, y'all need to tighten up too. Because what's happening with the exclusivity of our organizations is ridiculous. Y'all are lowering the standards. Y'all are allowing people to be a part of this organization just because they mama a part of the organization, just because they daddy a part of the organization. Y'all are allowing people to join the organization just because they can pay some money. That's weird as fuck. That's loser. That ain't the organizations I grew up to know. Our organizations should be difficult to join. It should be an exclusive organization. But what's been happening over the last couple of years is because of the fear of hazing, y'all have completely excommunicated members. And while I understand why it's like that, because like I said, a lot of hazing has gone on, I don't think that we're making the right decisions to fix the issue. The issue cannot simply be anybody who is not a part of the current chapter should never be a part of the upbringing of new members. I think that is weird. How are you cutting out people who came up in the same, in the same chapter? It makes no sense for me to have come through a chapter and me to not be able to talk to the new members. That don't make no damn sense. And because we're doing that, because you're blocking out a lot of the graduate members, it's allowing for bullshit to fester within the current members. Because a lot of the times, the current members who didn't go through a real genuine process are creating their own process. They're making shit up as they go along. That's how we get here. That's how we get all these hazing allegations. That's how we get all this hazing. Because the new members who don't have the guidance of the graduate members who have done an accurate process, they're not allowing them to be brought in. And like I said, I understand how we got to this point, because a lot of bullshit has been happening and y'all are trying to essentially break way, but really y'all are doing it for the wrong reasons too. Y'all are simply trying to not be liable for the things that go on campus. Y'all don't want to be held liable. Everything is about money. Everything is about power. And I think that we're losing sight of the purpose of these organizations. I'm going to say it, and I don't care. I think that our organizations want more members because more members equals more money. And again, I get it. Money equals resources and access, but at what cost? It doesn't make sense to me. And I'm not liking the direction that these organizations are going in. It's putting a bad taste in my mouth as a member, but it's also making us look bad to people who are non-members. We are no longer these organizations that people want to be a part of, that people want to lean on. We are supposed to be the pillars of the community, and we're not looked at like that anymore. I don't know if y'all know that, but we're not. People don't look at D9 members as if they are real serious change makers in our community. They look at us like we stupid. They look at us like, why would I ever pay people to beat my ass? And they're not wrong. They're looking at us like we're dumb because we pay for friends, because we have lost sight of our mission and our purpose. And I'm going to stand by that. I'm going to stand by that. Let's put a pin in that. Now I'm going to talk to people who are non-Greek members. A lot of people had questions about why I said that it should be difficult to join this organization and why it should be exclusive. And I think that people were assuming that I was advocating for hazing, and I wasn't. What I was trying to get across is these organizations are special and they are important. They have a lot of history and they have a lot of legacy. That's number one. Number two, if we do not vet the people that we bring into our organization, we are going to have everything that I just talked about. If we do not put a lockdown and do a real assessment of how we bring people in the first place, we're going to continue to have things that I just talked about. Yes, it is a service-based community, but you have to understand that it's also a business. So when people are also asking questions like, why are y'all signing NDAs? That's really scary. Pause. I think that a lot of people don't really know what an NDA is. An NDA is simply a legal document to protect the intellectual property of a corporation or business. And I think that a lot of people think that the D9 are just social clubs. They're not, right? That's a part of it. There is a social element, but these are incorporated businesses with full structures. So yes, there is absolutely intellectual property that must be protected, period. A lot of people used this as an opportunity to talk down on D9, which again, I fully understand. I fully understand where it's coming from, but I think that considering someone just died, now is not the time to tell us and to start this bullshit about D9 being devil worshippers. I think that it's lazy. I think that it's ridiculous. And I don't think that y'all are genuine. I don't think that y'all are genuine. I don't even think that y'all really care about that young boy dying. I think that y'all just wanted a gotcha moment. Like, told y'all everybody who's Greek is weird. Relax. Because from what I've been seeing, there's a lot of people condemning them boys. There's a lot of people condemning them. And I understand people denouncing. But what I'm going to say is, the reason that people denounce, even though they are using religion a lot of the times to denounce, they feel like there's a lot of idolatry going on. They feel like they were worshiping Greek gods or whatever y'all want to say. I want y'all to know a lot of that has to do with the Greek members who take this shit entirely too serious, the ones who are inflicting harm, the ones who make being Greek their entire personality, the ones who allow the letters to make them. Those are the people that are directly causing people to want to denounce because they're being wrapped up in some bullshit. That's what's going on. And I'm never surprised by people denouncing because I've watched people do the most behind their letters. I've watched it. And it's ridiculous. I'm when I joined my organization, I joined for the actual purpose of my organization. I joined for the community aspect of my organization. But I'll be lying if I said I did not take a step back. I have taken a step back over the last couple of years because the things that I have been seeing, I don't like. I'm still proud to be a member of my organization, but it's not my entire personality. It's something that I've done. It's something that I've accomplished. But it is not something that creates who I am. It is not something that changes my mindset on things. It's not that. Because not to diminish our organization at the same time, but it's merely an organization. I would have never allow an organization to tarnish who I am at its core. I think a lot of people are confused about what the Greek people, who are the ones who are trying to hold this chapter accountable. I think a lot of people are confused at the things that we're saying. Because like I said, people are confused on why we're saying it needs to be difficult. Why are we saying that it needs to be exclusive? All of these things. And I kind of already explained that. But another thing is, I think that people believe that we are encouraging this behavior. And I want y'all to know that there is absolutely an internal battle happening within the Greek community. There is an internal battle that's been happening. What I will say is, I think a couple of things needs to happen. I think a couple of things needs to happen for us to correct course. Number one, I think there needs to be a moratorium, period. For everybody. Everybody needs to be paused right the fuck now. No lines for a minimum of 3 years. I think that we need to reevaluate the processes and see what a lot of people don't understand is the things that y'all hear, the bad things that y'all hear, the hazing, those things are not outlined. I'm trying to figure out a way to say this. Those things are not being done in a legitimate way. That has the things that you are hearing about is not a part of the actual legitimate process that is outlined by our organizations. You know what I'm saying? Those things are being done by people who want to go rogue. Those are completely off the books. Those are people. Those are things that are happening that ain't got nothing to do with anything that ain't in the book. That ain't in the book, right? But a lot of that happened because of underground pledging. I do think that above ground pledging would be a step to prevent a lot of the bullshit from happening, because what's going to happen is it's public. People can see, people are experiencing, but it also brings that element of community back. Because like I said, especially with the girls, a lot of the time the graduate members are not allowed to be a part of that process, legally speaking. So I think that if we bring that element back, where the community element, where graduate members of this specific chapter are allowed to be a part of this experience, are allowed to do that, I think that'll change a lot. Because somebody made a point on TikTok where it's like somebody will make a post on Greek shenanigans, like, somebody strolling weird, or somebody making a really weird post and and people be in the comments like, where are they pros? Baby, the pros is wrong. The pros crossed in 2020. Y'all forget that we're in 2025. The pros crossed in 2020. They making up shit too. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's we gotta stop. Listen, y'all don't listen now. Cause the pros at this point, the people who are pros on campus, they wrong too. That's what y'all don't understand. Somebody who crossed a while ago has the wherewithal to know how to course correct new members. And there is a huge difference. I need y'all to hear me very clearly. There is a huge difference between deference and hazing. Deference is me as somebody who came before you, course correcting you in an appropriate way. This is how you represent our organization appropriately. This is the way we do things. These are our traditions. Hazing is beating them, spitting on them, making them do things so that they can possibly respect you. Those two things are not the same. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. And I want y'all to understand that deference is important. Hazing is not. Upkeeping some level of a process is important. Beating somebody to death is not. I do think it's possible that we can save our organizations. However, if we don't, if this is the end, if this death causes a permanent moratorium and all of our organizations are done, I wouldn't be surprised. And I wouldn't even fight back on it, because so much shit has been happening over the past 10, 15 years within the organizations of itself, internally and externally, that I just wouldn't be surprised. And I would just be like, you know what, fuck it. Maybe we run its course. Maybe we've lost the plot too bad. And I wouldn't be surprised, because it's really gotten that bad. And I'm just at a point where I'm frustrated, and I know a lot of other people are too. This is not what our founders wanted. This is not what our founders did. So many people want to join a Greek organization for strolling, for going to AGP, and for looking cute with their colors. And while those are definitely cool aspects, everybody wants to go to AGP. I get it. Everybody wants to stroll. I get it. I too. After you graduate college and you're still a part of the organization, now what? And I think that we are not talking about that portion of it. Now pause. A lot of people wanted to talk down on our organizations as a means to say, like, because I put in my TikTok video that whether you like it or not, whether you want to join or not, whether you agree about our organizations or not, D9 is absolutely ingrained in Black American culture. And we are very much a part of African American culture. A lot of people are like, why, how is paying for friends a part of a Black culture? You can try your best to demean the cultural impact of D9 all you want. It's not going to change the facts, okay? A lot of your civil rights activists were a part of D9. D9 was on the front lines for a lot of our civil rights movements. The IOTAs were founded in the 60s, directly stemming from the civil rights movement. Them creating the organizations in the early 1900s in and of itself was a social movement. Because you have to understand the social capital of an organization. Now, I understand there's elitism, and I'll get to that. But you have to understand the social capital of joining a Greek organization, right? So when all of these Black people were not able to join white Greeks and they created their own, it completely branched out. We are nothing like white organizations. And I'm not saying that in a separate, like trying to be separate or trying to like do any of that. I'm just speaking factually. When we branched off and created the Black organizations, we completely created our own traditions, our own culture within it. Yes, we use the white organizations as a pillar and as a point of reference, but everything is completely different, right? I also want y'all to stop spreading this lie that Black people who are in Black Greek organizations are worshiping Greek gods. That's not true. You gonna choose to believe that or not, but that's just not what it is, right? We're not worshiping anything, actually. Like, in a lot of these Black organizations, because they were founded by Black folks in the early 1900s, have Christianity a part of it, right? Founded through Christianity. Again, whether you want to believe that or not, that's up to you. I'm not sitting here. I'm not gonna argue with y'all. I don't care what y'all think or what y'all believe. I'm just telling you what it is.
I said I don't even have any to give right now, but I do understand.
Somebody also brought up the elitism within the exclusivity specific part of Black orgs. And I am not in disagreement. I want to be very clear. There is absolutely a level of elitism ingrained naturally into our organization, especially when you think about the time period that it was founded in. You have to understand, even though now present day 2025 we can recognize the damages of elitism, you have to understand that in the early 1900s elitism was a form of survival. The only way Black people were able to cultivate a sustainable life was for them to go to college, was for them to join these organizations, was for them to do all of these things, right? It granted them access into a different social class, which allowed them to have a slightly better experience. But I can recognize that in present day, that elitism is damaging to our community. I 100% agree and understand that, full stop. When I say that our organizations need to be exclusive, I'm specifically talking about GPA requirements, right? Community service hours served, right? I'm talking about not being able to join the organization just because you can pay for it and because your mom is a part of it. Those two things, the nepotism element and the money, that's what makes it elite. That's the elitism part of it. But I think if we get back to the just having requirements to join outside of who your mom and them is and outside of monetary investments, I do think that we can maintain the level of exclusivity. You can absolutely do community service outside of D9. You can absolutely have brotherhood and sisterhood outside of D9. I recognize that, and I'm not trying to make it seem like being a part of D9 is the superior choice. I don't think it's that at all. I think that within the Black community, there are a lot of different things that you can be a part of community. In the Black community, we have a lot of different things that you can be a part of that brings you community in some way, shape, or form. Some people find community specifically within the church. Some people find community within D9. Some people find community within the NAACP. Some people find community just with their friends and family. There's so many different organizations. There's so many different things that you can do inside of the Black community that can give you a level of legitimacy, even if that's not joining anything at all. I want to be very clear in saying that joining D9 does not give you a leg up, and it shouldn't. Let me say that. It shouldn't give you a leg up, and it should not give you more social capital. I know that it does in some ways, but it shouldn't. And I can recognize that the elitism that we participate in willingly is problematic. And I want to acknowledge that completely. Like I said, there's a lot of issues that we have to get to the bottom of. But I recognize that we might also be too far gone. And it's frustrating as somebody who has wanted to be a part of this organization from a little girl and saw all the good that they've done and saw all of the importance, right? And saw the community efforts, saw how integral they were to this civil rights movement. Saw a lot of the voting aspects that they incorporate, seeing a lot of the fight that they've done for HIV/AIDS, seeing all of these things made me excited to join the organization. And after I joined, I saw things that I absolutely hated, not just with my organization, but with D9 as a whole. And I think that if we not gonna be honest, and if we not gonna start having these real conversations out loud, go ahead and wrap it up. Go ahead and wrap it up. Just is what it is. It just is what it is. People wanting to have some level of power over you for what? It don't do nothing for you. People pledging after they already got their fucking letters. That's all I got to say. I hope that what I said made a little bit of sense. I hope I was able to kind of bridge those two people together, because I think that ultimately we all want the same thing. Should nobody be hurt? Should nobody be dying? I think we can all agree to that. But on one end, there are people who are within the Greek community that have lost the plot and they need to be gathered. And on the other end, people who are not Greek are always looking for an opportunity to talk down on people in the Greek community and quite literally just don't understand a lot of the things that go on, y'all need to be grabbed on too. And we need to just boop. Shh. So hopefully in this video, I was able to touch on all the things, all the points. Because again, I want to be very clear. Folks got to be held accountable. But in the same token, I recognize the positive aspects of our organizations. I want to get back to that. So that's all I got to say. Yeah, feel free to talk amongst yourselves in the comment section. But yeah, that's all I got to say, y'all.